One of the most frustrating things about low back pain is how often it seems to come back. You finally start feeling better. The pain eases up after a few days. You stretch more, rest, use heat, change your workouts, or just try to be careful for a while. And for a moment, it feels like things are improving. Then it happens again. Sometimes it comes back after bending over or after sitting too long. Sometimes after sleeping or for no obvious reason at all. That is when a lot of adults start feeling confused, frustrated, and honestly a little bit defeated. But in many cases, recurring low back pain is not random. And it is not always just about one sore muscle or one bad movement. Usually there is a deeper pattern underneath it. The low back is one of the most common places for the body to store and express stress. It takes on a huge amount of work every single day. It helps you lift, walk, carry kids, exercise, sit at a desk, and do all of the small repetitive things life demands from you. Because of that, when the body is not moving well somewhere else, the low back often has to compensate. That compensation can come from the pelvis not moving well or from posture that has built over time. It can come from repetitive strain at work or from past injuries. It can come from pregnancy, postpartum changes, or constantly carrying children on one side. It can also come from stress patterns in the nervous system that keep the body more guarded and tense than it should be. So while the pain may feel sudden, the pattern itself has been developing for much longer. That is why so many people say things like, I didn't even do anything, or what's a good one? It just came out of nowhere. Most of the time, it was not actually out of nowhere. The flare-up was just the moment your body could no longer compensate for. That's an important shift in perspective. See, because if you only focus on pain, you miss what is actually driving it. See, pain gets attention, but it's not always the full problem. In fact, pain is often the last thing to show up. Before pain becomes obvious, there may already be stiffness, uneven movement, poor stability, reduced mobility, and a nervous system that is struggling to adapt well to physical stress. Then one more small trigger gets added, and suddenly the low back becomes the loudest thing in the room. This is also why temporary relief does not always equal true correction. Yes, pain calming down is great. That matters. But if the underlying process and pattern is still there, the body often falls right back into the same cycle. You can feel better for a few days or a few weeks and still be carrying the same spinal stress, the same pelvic imbalance, or the same compensation patterns that caused the problem in the first place. This is why so many people live in this stop and start cycle with their low back. They're not always in severe pain, but they never really feel stable either. They feel one wrong move and they're gonna be right in the middle of a flare-up again. They avoid certain workouts. They're careful picking things up. They feel tight after sitting too long. They're functional, but they're not fully free. And that is not the same thing as healing. Another piece people often overlook is the role of the nervous system. See, your nervous system controls how well your body adapts to stress, tension, movement, and recovery. All those things I just talked about. When it is overloaded, the body tends to stay in a more guarded and protective state. Muscles stay tighter, movement becomes more restricted, inflammation lingers, and recovery feels slower. The body becomes less resilient, more reactive. So for many, low back pain is not just a structural issue, it is also a stress and adaptation issue. That matters because it changes how we think about healing. Instead of only asking, where does it hurt? We need to be asking bigger questions. Why does this pattern keep happening? Where is the body compensating? What stress has been building in the system? And why is the body struggling to adapt the way that it should? Those questions help you get to the root cause instead of just chasing symptoms. That is also why recurring low back pain should not just be brushed off as part of getting older, being busy, Or being a parent. Yes, life is physically demanding. Yes, stress adds up. But pain that keeps repeating is a sign that the body needs more support. Your body is not being dramatic. It is being clear. If you're tired of dealing with the same low back pain over and over again, schedule an appointment. We'll get you checked out.